Alrighty, folks. Let's get into a version 1.11 all heroes tier list. We've had this requested a couple times. This is now my third attempt recording it because I've lost the footage 2 times in a row somehow. I know, very unfortunate. Got an ice storm on the way, so I don't know if I'll be on stream here for a couple of days depending on when we lose power. I'll do a post on YouTube letting you guys know when I'll be back, how long power's been out for. Like I said, I already did 2 attempts at this, so I've already got the full tier list made, but let's go through it real quick and just give a couple of my thoughts on some of these heroes that have moved around a good bit since the last patch. Version 1.11 didn't shake up too much. It did add Mako, but other than that, we really didn't get much balance changes. Going top to bottom here, S tier, picker, ban tier, heroes that you probably should be seeing in the majority of your games, at least in plat range where I've been playing. Eden, by far the most broken hero in the game. If there was a tier above S tier, she would be the only hero that I would put in it. The fact that this hero has been in the game for 8 weeks now and hasn't got significant nerfs is kind of ridiculous because it's far and away better than all the other carries right now. It's kind of disappointing that that's the game that we have to live with, but it is what it is. I'm going to keep abusing Eden at the carry role until they nerf her. That being said, though, if you're in a game and she gets through the ban phase and you're picking first, pick her at any role. Like, you have to have this hero on your team. Pick her at support, pick her at jungle, pick her at mid lane, solo. At any role, just pick her, man. Do not let the other team have her. Next up, Yuri. No surprise to see her up here. You've probably been seeing Yuri's cook in your games recently. The mobility is just ridiculous. Burst assassin type junglers have really been in. Not just on this patch, but a little bit before this patch as well. So Yuri, in the same token, Kalari, high mobility, high damage junglers that aren't farming as much and they're just repeat ganking lanes due to how small this map is and how easy it is to get around on it, are just really beneficial right now to your team. Generally, you'll put your team ahead more by just repeat ganking with these than you would by farming and waiting for the late game or trying to solo objectives, because these are not solo Fangtooth type heroes. They're just repeat gank lane type heroes, which has been working, unfortunately, due to the map size. Acheron, why did he need buffs? Man, I mean, can anybody tell me why Acheron needed buffs? Oh, his win rate wasn't that high. Oh, his hitbox is too big. This hero's before he got buffs, I was targeting this hero as my pick in solo lane because he just does stupid damage, man. Anyone that doesn't have CC to cancel you out of your ult as well are free kills with his ult. So Acheron just in an incredible spot right now. I know his win rate doesn't really reflect that as much, but a good Acheron player is capable of so much more damage than he should be, you know, and the healing is still there too because anti-heal hasn't been buffed. So that's where he is. Morn, also in S tier. You could definitely make an argument to put him down into A tier, but I think he's in this meta where these super mobile junglers are running around. Having the AoE mez is really nice. Having the pull is really nice in duo lane. Having great healing for your team in team fights is nice. Universal presence ult. I think at some ranks he's a top 3 win rate right now. Kind of surpasses the rest of the supports by a sizable gap, I would say. Of course, you can still get value with any of the supports. I think the balance overall right now is pretty tight, but he's just in a really good spot. So Belica, Gadget, Iggy, coming in here at the top of A tier, best at their role. I think it's pretty straightforward. Most people will agree that Belica is kind of the best mid laner. It's mainly due to her hitbox and one-shot combo. The hitbox on that knockup, that Belica knockup, is just absurd. It'll catch you even if you're outside of the ground indicator, which is really annoying. I think if they balance that Belica hitbox or make it come out slower or something, she won't be as broken as she is, because her auto attack builds off of Cursed Ring are no longer like game breaking. It's just a ridiculous knockup hitbox, right? Gadget, great late game scaler, consistently good, objective fights, team fight damage, long range damage, can just outrange most other mid laners, has a slow start, but once you're stacked into the late game, you're doing stupid damage. Iggy, a top win rate hero at most ranks right now. I know people love to hate Iggy. I put out the Iggy spreadsheet video recently breaking down how to get the most out of Iggy's ult and turret damage. Just a really strong hero, the best team fighting or the best objective pit fighting mage that you can get, because you just get to Fangtooth first, put down your turrets, and then it's really hard for them to push in there. I hope you guys have been enjoying Iggy. I know he's really cheesy in solo lane, and I probably deserve some kit retunes or reworks, but it's where he's at right now. Kira, Sparrow, I think these are kind of some of the best carries. All the carries in general are very tightly balanced. If you prefer Murdoch, if you prefer Revenant, whatever it may be, you can pretty much get value out of any of the carries right now. It's kind of what flavor left click do you prefer. The flavor left click that I prefer is Kira. If I have to hard carry, great mobility. Her ult has anti-heal now, so it's actually not a tragically bad ult. It's just an okay ult. Before it was just really brutally bad, but decent now with an anti-heal, at least having some tech to it. Sparrow, a great passive, a great ult for team fights. A lot of people like Sparrow right now. Decent augments too, depending on how you want to play her. Just two solid carries. I think carries are so balanced you could really make an argument for most carries up here or down here, however you want to move them. But let me know your thoughts on what carries you personally prefer, because that's really all it comes down to as far as carry lineups. Shimby, she was good last patch. She's still good. Great clear, great split pushing, great mobility. Lacks CC but makes up for it in damage. Magical solo laners are still in a good spot like they were last patch. Bale. Pretty much no solo laner can win trades with Bale pre-level 3. His level 1 and level 2 are just insane. His passive's really good, giving him mobility to either pursue you or escape. Just a nightmare to play into Bale. Maybe Greystone with his anti-heal augment could win a trade with him early. Maybe Terra if you're hitting an empowered dash into him, or true damage. But other than that, it's just impossible to win. His third hit auto chain just does so much damage, and his passive is so strong. Just a nightmare to play into in solo lane, decent in jungle as well. Grim, he was good last patch. He's really the same as he was last patch. It's just there's less content creators saying, you gotta play this broken Grim build, which a lot of the player base doesn't really think for themselves, and just plays whatever they see a big content creator play and put, in all red capital text, broken in the thumbnail. Grim's not in really any of a different spot than he was in that last patch when he was broken, right? But we're not seeing him as much. If you're enjoying Grim, still a good time to be enjoying Grim. If you get ahead with him, he's really crazy. Works well with a lot of the meta supports right now. What's your favorite flavor of left click? Just don't pick him if you've got a magical jungler and magical solo laner, right? Because it's going to make building armor against your team quite easy. Richter. One pull is all it takes for Richter, right? You can miss 9 pulls in a row, hit the 10th one, and decide a 2v2 fight or even a team fight late game and potentially decide game. Richter has that potential. He always has. You got to hit your pulls, though. Still a good ult for shutting down dives, which is pretty valuable in a high mobility jungler meta. I like him in jungle too sometimes, and solo lane he's still flexible in those roles. Faye has moved into an incredible spot. She was really not good and kind of power crept before. Now she's moved into a spot with that Nettles buff where it comes off cooldown so fast you can absolutely spam the Nettles and do stupid damage. Aaron was playing carry for us the other day and rotated to mid, and the enemy Faye hit him with 3 Nettles in the span of 4 seconds and just took his entire health bar. So the fact that you can spam Nettles so fast now and do that damage, if you're hitting them, you probably outpoke just about every other mid laner. Other than that, still has a decent ult for team fights and objective secures, but kind of not quite on the level of these 3, but she's back into a better spot than she has been. Countess, man, I've been having great Countess games, very good in jungle. Build your Spirit of Amir. Since it got buffed a couple patches ago, it feels very good. Just great mobility, great true damage passive, not too much to go wrong with Countess. Playable in solo lane as well, of course. Good against tanks with that true damage. Decent CC, it allows you to catch some of the high mobile junglers that we're seeing right now, and she is a high mobility jungler herself. Steel. Great consistent CC. Hit any ability you want, you're going to provide CC for your team. One of the tankiest supports in the game. Late game due to his passive. Just really strong, really consistent. Play him well, hit your crazy Riftwalker plays, and you can get huge value with him just about every game. Yin. Stepped into a good spot towards the beginning of 1.11. She was rising as a top win rate jungler. I don't think she's quite there, especially over some of these other options now. But very strong in the late game, has a bit of a slow start in jungle, but has that great auto attack scaling, and kind of just gives you an extra carry on your team late game, which is very nice. Deflects to really high skill cap, good mobility, everything you really like. Decent sustain as well, so really nothing wrong with Yin right now. Just kind of takes a little bit more practice to get used to her, right? Because her autos are so weird. Rena, no longer in as oppressive of a spot as she was before. We're in the B tier decent value now. Heroes that you can kind of get a good value with. If you prefer them as well, you could perform with them as well as some of these other ones because I think the balance is relatively tight. But Rena just not quite on the level of Gadget, I would say, as far as a late game scaler, but you do still have the option to get stacked up throughout the game and then just stasis ult over a team fight, and it's like, you know, here's just dump a bunch of damage on a bunch of people, and there's not much they can do about it. Terra got buffs mysteriously. I thought she was already quite strong. Is the people that were having good games with Terra before the buffs are just going to have even better games now, and the people that weren't enjoying her before still aren't going to enjoy her. But if you're enjoying Terra right now, shout out to you. A great bully in solo lane. One of your best trade winners due to the way that you can use either the empowered true damage or the empowered shield to get value with her consistently and win those trades. Super tanky late game if you want to build tank as well. Boris, still Chimera Jr., although we have Chimera down towards the bottom of the tier list since his brutal nerfs. Boris is still just Chimera Jr. He's got good mobility, decent CC and stuff like that, decent sustain, has a high win rate despite the nerfs that he got. A relatively popular pick right now. I just am not a big fan of him, but if you've been enjoying him, he's not in a bad state right now at all, as far as like a bruiser sustain based jungler. Wraith. The items that you're building on Wraith got buffed. Soul Chalice into Rezo and then Soul Binder and stuff like that. Got buffs, put Wraith into one of the best spots he's ever been. He's actually no longer the lowest win rate hero in the game, which I know is shocking, right? So if you've been enjoying Wraith, now's a good time to be enjoying Wraith. Hits really hard, man. Just hits like a truck late game. It's crazy. Build your Alternator, build your Soul Binder, stack him up. And just cook. Playable realistically in mid and carry if you just have the playstyle needed to play Wraith. Not too many people do, which is why he's not up in here in the top of A tier, but he really does have that potential now. Crunch, same thing. If you're good with him, you can get incredible value. Just really slow before level 6, man. Both in solo lane and jungle, really slow before level 6. But if you can somehow be ahead by the time you hit level 6, if you're farming efficiently, or if your jungler helps and gives you a gank early in solo lane, and you're ahead when you reach level 6, you're probably going to cook for the rest of the game. The CC chains are just ridiculous on him, man, right? It's so annoying to play in against a Crunch. Good sustain as well, so kind of everything you want for a CC bruiser with sustain. Gideon, Howie. These go right here next to each other. I feel like they're both in a decent spot, but not quite on the level of the top mid laners. Gideon, of course, very safe in lane always, and a great brawler with short cooldowns and high damage output. Fast clear as well once you get a couple levels and a couple items on. And then Howie, decent CC. The ult obviously still hits hard. Not quite as safe as a Gideon, but does have the knockback mine. I think a lot of people are more used to playing around Howie ult now, canceling you out of Howie ult, or just avoiding you when you're getting ready to Howie ult, which does make it a little bit tougher to get the Howie value. But if you're good with him and hitting the missiles, you still deal stupid damage. So two like good middle of the road mid laners there. Decker, man, very solid as a support. Also realistically playable in mid now because she does big damage. She still does big damage and people don't respect the beam. Always like to have a Decker on my team. The cage is always valuable. The multiple stuns in her kit is always valuable. High mobility fits well in this high mobility meta. So really nothing to dislike about Decker right now. A top support for sure. Not quite on the level of like Richter and Steel in the late game, but in the early game, having a Decker as your support in lane is really nice to help you clear if you're a slower clearing carry like Kira. Skylar, still the best tank killing carry. The beam just nukes tanks. It just absolutely shreds tanks. So like, we're not really in a tank meta, but anytime they do have a tank heavy comp, Skylar's still the best tank killer carry that you're going to get. The fly can still help you get around and avoid some damage while putting the beam on people, which is just really strong. Greystone, I like him. He's just been consistent, right? He doesn't have the CC, but he does have fair mobility, incredible survivability with his ult, an anti-heal augment, which is very unique, and allows you to win trades earlier in solo lane than you would be able to on other heroes that have to build anti-heal first item. You can build lifesteal first item or just damage first item and still win your trades, which is quite nice for him. Decent in jungle as well, just lacks CC. It's just the nature of him. Same way with Shinbi, right? Wukong has a respectable win rate right now, but you're not going to see a lot of people play him because he's not easy to play. You can get good value with him. He has high mobility, just like some of the other more meta options. But just, I don't know, it's just rare to see a good Wukong player. You know, like I said, reasonably high win rate right now. But, like, are you taking him over Kalari Yuri? I mean, he offers better CC than them, but... and really on par or better mobility, but it's just you have to work a lot harder to get it out of him, so it is what it is. Argus, we've been seeing people do well with Argus. I think he's a relatively high win rate right now. Just you do the same thing with Wukong, you have to work a little bit harder with him. He plays different than a lot of mages. Does have incredible objective burn damage, similar to Iggy. I think he's second only to Iggy in objective burn damage with that machine gun you get on Fang and just hold it and nuke it, right? So in a decent spot for sure. Murdoch Drongo, what flavor of left click do you prefer, right? I like Murdoch. Has a well-rounded kit. The shotgun and the mines are great tech. Cross-map ult to help you stack up kills early. What's not to like? Very well-rounded, the very standard definition of a carry kit. And then Drongo bringing the unique silence to the table as a carry is nice in a meta where you can silence out a Richter, you can silence out a Sparrow that's ulting, a Kira that's ulting, something like that, an Iggy. You can silence them out, which is quite valuable if you're good at hitting it. Also, just has a generally good kit, good mobility with the ult, and rad rounds do hella damage, so what's not to like? Aurora, in a better spot than I think she has been. The level 1 trading that you get from her abusing her passive in solo lane is very strong. Like I said, with all magical junglers, Spirit of Amir right now is quite strong. Good CC for team fights, good, like really high skill ceiling with her ice wall. So just a solid, consistent hero right now, playable in a couple roles, playable in support as well, if you get the hang of her. So, you know, a decent middle of the road hero right now, better than she has been. FaZe kind of has stepped up into one of the higher echelon supports, but I've got her down here towards the bottom end of B tier because it's kind of rare that you see that really good FaZe player. When you do, she can swing games, but because she goes well with a lot of the like preferred carry picks right now, like FaZe Sparrow, obviously a classic combo, FaZe Grim obviously goes crazy. But if you're not good with her, you're kind of a detriment to your team. Usually doesn't offer the early game wave clear of someone like a Decker, but has great mobility, keeps your carry safe, makes your carry look very good even if they're not. So you always like to see that as a support, right? Making your carry look good. Seraph really has fallen from grace. Doesn't quite have the abusability that she did have when her cooldowns were shorter, but you can still get such crazy value with the immune. Any hero that has a full-on target immune, damage immune ability like she does is really just tough to deal with if they get ahead and start spamming multi-kills. Her ult is great for that, getting those multi-kills and resetting it. So still decent, not as good as she once was. I haven't been banning her in my ranked games like I was last patch, perma-banning her in every single match. Zarus, it takes a little bit of practice to get used to his auto attack range, to get used to his ability cycle. The movement and stuff on Zarus is a little bit different than most solo laners with the omnidirectional dash and stuff, but the ult is just always going to be valuable. If you're playing against a comp where they don't have multiple people who can get out of your ult easily, like Gideons and stuff like that, then you're going to get great value with it. You just hit somebody with the ult, your team jumps on them, they get cooked, you get stacks, you scale up great into the late game. So a solid hero, still wins trades, still has sustain for solo lane, can play jungle well, get around the map fast. Middle of the road type jungler or solo laner. If you like him in either role, he's in a decent spot right now. Quang got buffs. They helped him particularly in jungle more than solo lane, but he's still in kind of the same spot that he's been in, which is if you're hitting your sword throws and hitting those tethers, you're cooking anyone. You can cook if you're consistently hitting those sword throws. You're cooking at support. You're cooking at You could probably cook at mid lane. You could obviously play him jungle and solo very effectively. Wins trades, has a very valuable tether, has good CC with a knock-up as well if you catch him in it. Just strong. His passive stronger than it used to be. His augments are stronger than he used to be. He's in a good spot right now. Just requires you to hit tethers, basically, to get the good value out of him. Narb, the best team healer in the game, right? Very weak early game because you can't help your carry clear. Your mana management is really poor early game as well. But late game, best team healer, best team fight supporter in the game. Great on objectives and pits and stuff like that. The ult is very strong for team. Just everything about him is really strong in late game team fight scenarios. Just you have to pay for it with a weak early game. Zinx. Solid, has the unique ability to revive people, and if you get good with Zinx, that is super valuable. Chain stuns, of course, as well, super valuable. The fact that you can, I can't hit that Kalari with my stun. Well, I can hit the person near her, and it'll chain over to her in a team fight if she's nearby. So that kind of stuff is really valuable. The heal is valuable. You do have to pay a lot of mana for it in the early game. And the damage output is still there. A solid oppressive range support as you would like. And a solid healer, just not quite like, I wouldn't take her over Decker in the majority of situations because she doesn't have that crazy long range stun or the cage value, but she does offer some unique tech that you can't get anywhere else. So gotta be in B tier for me. C tier, comp / playstyle dependent heroes. Heroes that can get B or A tier value if the comp just lines up perfectly or if it's just you're a one trick with that hero, right? Twin Blast, one of the worst flavors of left click you can get right now, but if it's still your preferred flavor, you can still cook with them. Has good build options, just suffers against tanks, which I get we're not in a tank meta, but suffers at dealing damage to tanks in comparison to some of these other carries because he's firing those 2 shots that have to go through armor, 2 different occurrences. So still has an ult that hits crazy hard, still has good mobility and good harass in lane. Just kind of needs a decent support with him to get him his pin online and stuff to where he can kill tanks. Sevrog, crazy damage right now, man. We saw a game the other day where he was cooking in solo lane, doing ridiculous amounts more damage than he used to do, got buffs. Usually, there's just not a lot of people that play him to that level of potential. I mean, he realistically should probably be at least at the bottom of B tier, I think, for me, actually, just because late game he is so ridiculously tanky, and he can deal consistent damage, which is quite strong. So, shout out to Sevrog players, you're probably enjoying him right now. He's in a better place since the buffs. It just takes a little while to get him online, right? Mako, kind of disappointing after the nerfs, man. Mako, we knew when we read the 1.11 patch notes that the shields were going to be a problem, and that was the first thing that they nerfed on Mako, so at least they did address that quickly. Not as valuable in solo lane in those trades with that shield nerf, but still pretty solid overall. Just not, doesn't heal as well as these other healers, doesn't CC as well as the other CCers. Just has mobility, man. It literally just has mobility is all that Mako brings to the fight. A decent team fighting ult, I guess, if you can hit it, a good push with it, but I just don't see a lot of reasons to pick him over some of the other more meta supports right now. But if you've been enjoying him, it is a fun hero to play for sure. Muriel, similar to FaZe, is a support that makes your carry look better, which is always something you like at support. Just lacks CC. I mean, having a support with no CC and no tank potential is really, it's hard to make that the meta, but if your team is good, it's a great support to make your team look better, so the universal presence is nice. Rev, the least forgiving by far of all the carries right now. Not that he's necessarily the worst, although I do have him down here at the bottom, just the least forgiving, man. You can't afford to miss 4th shots, you can't afford to miss the root ability combo. It's just, yes, he goes through tanks well, but it's just not a tank meta, so a tough spot for Rev right now. If you're enjoying him, though, keep enjoying him. He is fun to play, he's unique, but it's just so unforgiving that you have to really play perfectly to get on par value with some of these other easier to use carries. Chimera, man, rest in peace Chimera. The king of the jungle has fallen, the king of healing has fallen. They've nerfed him into the ground a couple patches in a row, giving him nerfs, and finally one that hit him hard enough in both his sustain and clear speed that there's really no reason to be picking him right now. He can still solo objectives, he can still get rolling, he can still heal really fast, but just not as fast as he could. It takes him longer to get online. doesn't have any mobility outside of leaping onto an enemy. So, like, yes, Boris is Chimera Jr., but Chimera just doesn't really have any advantages right now. He's still getting mysteriously played and banned in some of the lower ranks right now. They'll probably figure out pretty soon that that's not worth it, because he just doesn't bring much to the table with how much they've neutered him, man. It's really brutal. Rest in peace, Chimera. Rampage, very much comp or playstyle dependent more than just being a bad jungler, right? If your team has a comp where you can use a big frontline tank like Ramp, you're going to get great value out of him. Or if you just prefer going tiny Ramp, building your on-hit items, and diving on people, you can also get good value out of them. But most comps right now would rather just take the high damage jungler than the big wall jungler. Playable in other roles, but not very great at them, I would say. The rock is still good anywhere. Anytime you hit the rock, it's still good and satisfying, right? But just kind of very comp or playstyle dependent. But if you've been enjoying Ramp, I think he's in an okay spot right now for sure. Grux obviously wins trades. Obviously Grux is on people in solo lane. If you get ahead, man, it's really hard to play anywhere inside melee range of a Grux. Luckily, we've got heroes like Akron and Shinbi that don't mind playing outside of his auto attack range. So with his lack of mobility, just kind of doesn't keep up with some of the higher, more mobile heroes that are getting played a lot right now. But if you're good with the pull, you can still catch people, right, and still cook them. So okay, just in one of the weaker spots that he's been in, right? Feng Mao, one of, if not the lowest win rate hero in the game at most ranks. Yes, he is highly mobile. Yes, he does big damage. Yes, he has the potential to get rolling with his passive and cook late game, but you're just not seeing people prefer him over these. Like, Kalari just does everything he does, but better. I mean, Yuri obviously is insane. There's just not too many reasons to pick him outside of getting his passive on as quick as you can. Don't flame in solo lane either. Really brutal in solo lane. But if you're playing him in jungle and you get your passive online quick, you can cook and carry games with him. Just harder to get the most out of. Realistically, I would put him in the needs buffs tier. Problem is, how do you buff him without making him broken? You give him just very, very slight buffs, and he immediately is going to shoot to S tier. So I don't know how they fix the fact that he's as low of a win rate as he is without making him a 55% win rate hero. But maybe they could adjust something around. For that reason, he probably should be in needs buffs tier, but I just don't know how you do it, right, without making him broken. Morigesh, definitely a needs buffs hero, but at the same time, I'm not going to put her in needs buffs because I don't want a meta or anyone else to see this and get any ideas. Morigesh, a terrible kit on paper, a hero that's meant to be a terrible noob stomper hero, and anytime Morigesh is good in the meta, it's a sign that we're not in a healthy meta, right? Anytime Morigesh is winning every solo lane matchup, it's a sign that anti-heal and mobility are not balanced properly. So while she is weak, I can't give anyone the impression that she should be buffed, because please, Amanda, do not buff this hero. Leave her as bad as possible, as long as possible, or at least buff anti-heal if you're going to buff her, because good grief, man. A trash hero, I'm sorry if you enjoy playing her, it's just how it is, man. Really bad kit on paper, really bad kit on paper. You should pretty much only be beating noobs with her, and any time that she's good, man, it's just a bad sign for the meta, so that's where we're at as far as hero balance in version 1.11. Hopefully I can get this out to you guys in a timely manner. With this ice storm approaching, I'm sure I'm going to be without power for multiple days, hopefully less than a week. But we'll see how it goes. Thanks everybody for hanging out with us. Let me know your thoughts below. Where did I get it right? Where did I get it wrong? Did this one a little bit more opinionated than usually I do, kind of all win rate, pick rate statistics based. But I think later on in this patch, about a week from, well, who knows with this ice storm, about a week from now, I'm going to do another top 3, bottom 3 win rate hero discussion at every specific role. There's a lot of people like that for the last patch, so we're going to do another one of those. This one was a little bit more opinion-based. I've been playing all my games in plat since the patch. I'm actually getting pretty close to diamond, so maybe we'll make a push for that soon. Thanks for stopping by and hanging out with us. Let me know your thoughts. We'll catch you guys in the live streams whenever they return, and keep enjoying Pred, folks. Just keep enjoying Pred.